Hey everyone, welcome to our sutra lecture today. My name is Heng Sure. It is Monday, the 25th of November. We're into Sagittarius here in Australia. And in just a moment, we're going to make 3 half bows. And then Elaine, Ethan, and Justin are going to request Dharma. And we will get our sutra lecture underway. 欢迎各位参加我们华严经佛学讲座。今天是11月25号，在这里在澳大利亚那么等一下我们就调眼镜3下就行3个温馨礼，然后有 Elaine、Ethan 和 Justin 一起就请法。Okay. So here, let's make that a little bigger. Okay, let's ring the bell 3 times. Please join me if you care to make a bow. Here we go. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. Okay, Elaine, Justin, Ethan, if you'd like to request Dharma, please go ahead and do it now.
恭请大德圣听，为此法会集一切众生，请转妙法轮，教导我们如何了生脱死，离苦得乐，速证无生。Will the Sangha with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to leave suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death, and quickly will lie non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye olahudi samya sambuddhoshe.
Namo sadanto suchedoye olahudi samya sambuddhoshe.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. Alrighty, appreciate the Dharma request. Let's move on and invite the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to draw near. 我们现在迎请华严海会佛菩萨，还有天龙八部护法上身莅临道场。 go. Furthermore, I'd like to acknowledge the Pomo people who practice their spiritual connections to the earth and all creation here on their ancestral land. Here means the Ukiah Valley, Yokeo, a deep valley, and for tens of thousands of years, and we acknowledge them today as traditional custodians and original storytellers of these lands. We offer our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. 就说我们恭敬地承认 Pomo 人是我们寺院所在地的传统叙事者和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，他们的长者们致敬，并且向所有从来没有放弃主权的第一民族的原住民致敬。Bells sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传3000界内，佛法扬万亿国中，共训系法界和平，利益报他诺厚德。Done with that part. Okay, I heard a new to me, acknowledgement of country today that was impressive, and there's a thought that's going. I'm very interested in propagating this acknowledgement of country. I believe it's right in line with the teachings of wisdom, which acknowledges traditions and principles. And the principle of this acknowledgement of country is that we, in this generation, people hearing my voice alive right now, breathing together, are just the latest in a long line of humans. And to place ourselves after those who've come before, and then before those who come after, provides roots, provides continuity, and also lines us up in a tradition of looking for wisdom and looking for the stories that place us in our context of humanity. So that's a very wholesome thing. And it's easy to do, doesn't cost anything, and it expands the mind. So I think that's a good thing. 这个承认 how do we say acknowledging country 公认我们前辈的这个习惯在现在澳大利亚发现，现在我愿意在哪里讲经要继续这个恭敬承认前辈的有智慧和长者们还有传统应该受尊敬的人，这样做我觉得是跟佛法很有意思的，就非常适合佛教徒的一种习惯。为什么呢？就是说现在在生的，现在呼吸气的，听我声音的，我们这辈子的人是现代的人，可是呢，我们有前辈，有祖先在我们前边生死过，在向未来还有人 就会跟着我们后边来继续我们所有的这个传统，所有的智慧这样子我们所行所做的就有根基，就有根部，就有基础那么我们传统的智慧都会继续有这么一个道理，那我们人生就有意义。我们不是单独什么孤独的人了没有根部，没有根基的，所以我觉得这个很有意思。And okay, now here's the thing I wanted to say. I will be traveling to Taiwan in 3 days, and I know that there is a deep resonance with the indigenous people in Taiwan currently coming alive. And there's a lot of learning and wisdom and connection with the land that happens in Taiwan. So I want to, the acknowledgement of country is going to be very interesting when I lecture from Taiwan. 意思是说再过3天我都会去台湾Okay, says my voice is soft. That should be a little better. Okay, I hope that's better. Let's see here. I can make it louder still. Okay. Where input volume, let's see here. Oh, that's the maximum. Okay, hope that's better. I'll try to talk up a bit. I can scoot my chair closer to it. So 就是我在台湾的时候讲法就想继续这个 acknowledgement of country 就承认土地的这个传统台湾的原住民山地人就有他们的智慧传统，所以我们现在的人就认识了，就承认了我们不是第一代那个人类的文化不是从我们脚底下开始，不是，我们是继续过去的人还有希望未来的人会继续我们所行所做的这样是有道理。所以在台湾要恭敬地承认那边的原住民。Okay. There we go. Now, let's see. We have 120 plus of us who are here. That's great. Glad that you're all here. Thank you for joining. We have our hosts are in the city of 10,000 Buddhas, in Ukiah, in where else? In Suzhou, in Vancouver, in Ukiah, and lots of Ukiah. You're San Jose. Anne is in the mundane world. Oh, I'm sorry, Anne. Let's see if we can't get you out of that place so you can coexist in the mundane world without leaving it, but at the same time inhabit the flower treasury world system. Okay, Barbara and Ernie are here. Bin Xin is here. Bob and Fran are here. Celeste is here. Lin Changqing is here from Newbury Park. Chivo is here from Santa Rosa. Yi Chong-hee from LA, Guo Zhong-yi from LA, Connie is here, Gokuk Guoji, welcome, glad you're back safely. Daisy in Taipei, Daisy in Calgary, Daniel in Portland. Let's see here, some friends with an email address. Duke Levan in Montreal, Edna in Singapore, Edward is here in his iPad, Elaine in Ukiah, Sky Dung in Calgary, let's see here. Mr. Guo in Liaoning, Fanny in Seattle, welcome. Gwen in Dublin, Ohio. Heng Sure is here. Guo Hong is here in Alameda. Let's see here. Friends from the print. I have new eyes, but the print is so small, I still have to lean forward. Jack is here in Taiwan. Jan in Columbia City. Jane in Berkeley. Jason in Northern California. Let's see here, Chunjun is here in Shandong, Karen and Tam in San Leandro, Katie in Union City, Ken in Melbourne, welcome, Kim in, let's see, somewhere, Mr. Yip in New Zealand, Mr. Lin, Linda Louis is here. San Francisco, Billy and Maggie and Ming Chi, excellent. In San Jose, Mai in the Bay Area, Marion in San Francisco, hi Marion. May in New Zealand, Michelle in Calgary. Lots of Kiwis today, excellent. Okay, Chen Mingrong is here from Guangzhou, Ron, San Jose, Sarah and Michael. Stacy Zhu in San Bruno, Sue Wang in Malaysia, Sui Lan, Terry is in Ukiah, Tan is here from the university, Tony, Guoji, Viet, that's Vietnamese translation channel, excellent. Let's see here, Mr. Go in Calgary, Yihuan has joined us from Ukiah, Yin Chu, let's see here, Ding Yu Qing, okay, Yvonne in Malaysia. All right, and then let's see, John from Santa Barbara. That's it. That's the Western Hemisphere is winning. More folks listening in from that part of the world. That's really good news. That's progress. Okay, let's see here. 然后呢，我们该到亚洲这里，就求佛分在台北，还有。新加坡哪里？还有let's see here，开封河南开封 ，OK， 北京、吉林、内蒙古哪里？重庆上海、哈尔滨，北京，还有哪里？杭州、广州、安徽、合肥、黑龙江、深圳、包头、北京、大连。OK， 哪里？湖南、黑龙江、浙江、蓝海、黑龙江、安徽、苏州、圣河西、新北市。这是台北、山西、宝鸡黑龙江、福建，全球河北。Let's see, that's 过方、廊坊，哇，廊坊第一次，河北，欢迎。吉林，还有哪里？淮南市、北京，黑龙江、吉林，很多东北人湖北，黄冈、河北唐山、温哥华，许昌、河南，对了，欢迎，呼和浩特、内蒙古、深圳，这些地方我身体没有去过，可是我每个礼拜都会跟你们见面，多么好！南京、湖南、新疆。西雅图，山东、鸡西，哈尔滨、吉隆坡，广东、北京、深圳、上海、台北市。好 ，Wow, that's amazing. It's a thrill to be able to talk to friends in Inner Mongolia and in places for the first time, having friends come from, for example, Guangxi and places that are geographically far away, Xinjiang, and yet you say a few words and there's a connection. Okay, today we're going to move beyond our lovable, adorable, delightful 31 vows, and we are very close to the conclusion of the 8th transference. 今天我们还有13个可爱要的会上演，他们讲完了，再过一点点就第8回向就结束了就好了所以有一些想跟各位分享对于华严经，整个华严经，问题是为什么华严经这么好，怎么这么就说亲切，怎么这么就是会感动人的慈悲为怀的一些道理。虽然如此，很多人没有听过一句华严经，为什么那么多人不讲，怕讲华严经我有个原因，就是我自己的一种思想等一等有机会跟大家 发表，就是说分享，看看你们同不同意了。Excuse me. I've been thinking a lot about the Avatamsaka Sutra and why it is the case. OK, 今天是一路顺风，好。Why is it the case that the Avatamsaka Sutra is so little known? Why do so few people know anything about the Flower Garland Sutra, never heard a word of it? And why, in places where people know the Flower Garland Sutra, is it lectured so rarely? A lot of people are afraid to lecture. A lot of people who are qualified to open it up and to talk through it are afraid to do it. Why is that? I have a theory, and I want to share it with you all a little later. So let's see how we do. Meanwhile, today I have to share my time carefully because today's story from Master Xuanzang is really, really interesting. I'm not gonna spoil it. No spoilers. But I want to. Yeah, there we go. I'll just we'll get there. 今天玄奘大师的故事非常非常紧张动人哈，非常会令大家觉得很兴奋的啊。Okay, let's jump into it. Here we go. Here is our sutra, right there, starting right with this line right here. Here we go. Ready? 愿一切众生念念发起深刻爱要大菩提心，常令诸根欢喜悦欲。Slide right over there. Hey, come on. There we go. Ooh, too big. That's why. There we go. May all living beings bring forth the most delightful, great Bodhi resolve in every single thought, causing all their sense faculties to constantly radiate with joy. Whoa, what a picture. Okay, the wish is, may all beings make the Bodhi resolve. The verb I've heard, generate the bodhicitta. That's a Tibetan way of saying it. Generate the bodhicitta. That's just another translation of fa. Fa means to send out. You could even say find the Bodhi resolve. Attract the Bodhi resolve from your deep mind. All these different ways of saying how do thoughts rise? Where do thoughts come from? Is there a difference between ayao and how? I don't know. I don't know the phrase how yao. Don't know. Sorry, can't help. So look at this. May all beings bring forth that most delightful great Bodhi resolve. Yes, very delightful. Yes, it is. Very, very delightful. It's a great Bodhi resolve. And every single thought after thought. So, and then as a result of that, your eyes, your ears, your nose, your tongue, your body, and your mind constantly radiate with joy. Cool. Sign me up. That sounds good. 就说希望每一个众生受到我回向，都可以发最可爱要的大菩提，深可爱要的大菩提心。对，那个菩提心呢叫深可爱要。然后呢，因为那个关系，你看啊。常令诸根欢喜悦欲，阿弥陀佛！哇，眼睛欢喜悦欲，耳朵欢喜悦欲，舌头欢喜悦欲，耳朵是鼻子啊，欢喜悦欲，身体心了欢喜悦欲，啊，我要了，给我一份，好，我要申请。愿一切众生能入一切深可爱要诸如来家。May all living beings enter the Tathagata's most delightful household. So how is your household? How delightful is it? maybe good. Maybe your household is one of those places that you can't wait to come home. When you're coming up the steps, when you're getting off the subway and you turn down your street, your steps go a little faster because you know you're not very far from home. Could it be? Hope so. Hope so. Every time you think about your kitchen table or the game room or wherever you gather with your family, that your heart beats a little faster. Wouldn't that be good? So if it's not that way, if home is difficult, or if it's just quiet because you're the only person there, or you're with some elder who is having dementia troubles, or you have a family member who has obstacles, and so there's always effort to communicate in the household. Know that that's normal. That's the way many households are, just because we're part of the Kuhai, the ocean of suffering here. But there is a household, 如来家, that is Shenke Ayao. What is the Tathagata's household? Imagine what that's like. We join the Tathagata's household when we take refuge. There is a formal way to do it. And it's not just a wishful thought. It's not, gee, that must be nice. Maybe I already am and I don't know it. No, you know when you join the Tathagata's household. One interesting reality check that people might notice is whenever you see an artist's depiction of the Buddha is almost always surrounded by crowds of living beings. Yes, there are paintings of him under the Bodhi tree all alone or in seclusion, but mostly the Buddha is surrounded, the Tathagata is surrounded by 10 gods, dragons, yakshas, gandharvas, garudas, kinnaras, mahoragas, humans, non-humans, and the rest. Devas fly by offering flowers and music, and bodhisattvas are there to take note of what the Buddha says, and there are living beings requesting Dharma, and there are all these spiritual beings appearing. And so the Buddha, there's very few images of a bachelor Buddha, a solitary Buddha. There are Bijraful, but that's not the standard. Buddhas are intensely related to living beings. That's how they become Buddhas, is by tying up wholesome affinities with all kinds of beings. So it's like lonely Buddhas? Nope. They're deeply related and surrounded by layers and layers of beings from maybe not from the hells or from the hungry ghosts, but from animals to humans to asuras to devas. All the other realms of living beings surround the Buddha. So that's all part of the Buddha's household. How do we get there? Remember the things you said when you took refuge and when you took precept. So that's a good place to start. 就说自己的家庭是怎么一回事呢？就说下班或者下课回来就手拿着门锁打开自己家里的门，你的心会不会欢喜？你的眼睛会不会有光明进去？那个饭桌吃早饭的那个桌子，或者吃晚饭的桌子，在那里坐会不会很开心？生可爱要呢？如果有的话，恭喜你，那是比较稀有。 如果不是的话，种种因缘，那是多数是这样子，没有关系了。我们不是单单属于血肉的，就是说亲生的父母的家，或者自己是父母啊，立一个家庭。同时，我们也属于，就是说入来的家。如果我们皈依三宝，如果我们受戒，甚至于一次受八关斋戒都算了。我们什么时候得到法名，我们就是属于如来家啊。那个如来家是怎么一回事呢？大家想想看，我们看看艺术家给我们画佛的这个像，很少是孤独的，单独有佛在那儿，没有人陪伴，很少。甚至于佛在菩提树下，或者呢就说去闭关样子，那个可能是一尊佛。多数呢，很多众生围绕，就说天龙八部接近护持就说其他的佛菩萨都来护持这个做音响众那么天人在那儿散花做音乐这个夜叉王在那儿保护，金刚律师在那儿保护。多数呢看到佛像呢，就是很多众生在四周围。为什么呢？因为如来家就是佛还没有成佛之前，要跟一切众生结善法缘，度众生，就是菩提心的上半部，教化就说上乘佛道，下化众生。你怎么样成佛呢？就因为教化众生所以广结善缘，所以那就是佛度你呢，佛度我们，我们就是属于如来家。所以佛没有孤独的佛有必之佛，对了，没有错可是呢，多数呢到成佛的时候，十法界的众生，地狱的、恶鬼的，当然还没资格了不过呢，从人、有畜生，还有就说狮子龙这个大象都算了，都是畜生道。还有修罗天人，还有菩萨、罗汉等等，都围绕，都是属如来家。OK， 所以呢，我们也可以。你如果觉得，我皈依过，我就怎么能入深刻爱要的如来家呢？从自己的法名开始，自己的法名你记得吗？那么你自己说那个法名的时候，是不是要去礼佛或者赞佛、称赞如来，或者做供养忏悔都可以的。那就马上记得，对了，深刻爱要的如来家。Let's do another one here. 愿一切众生得可爱要，能调伏众生无有休息。May all living beings realize delightful practices of harmonizing living beings without ever resting. Is that really the way the sutra goes? There's two, 能调伏, 恒调伏. Okay, probably. Okay, so delightful practices of harmonizing living beings. You bet. So harmonizing 调伏. I'm glad that our translator has moved away from taming and subduing, because that was our standard translation for a long time. The what's it like to be harmonized? So here is harmony. Okay, what is dissonant harmony? That's dissonance. Ooh, we hear it and wayo. Wow. The vibrations do not resonate together, right? So here it is. But, oh, 不好听. So, now, is there anything wrong with dissonance? No, it exists in nature, but not for long. Things in nature move in harmony. Have you seen what are the tabletop devices of balls that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you hit one and they tick, 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 and they start, and if you start them at different times, all by themselves, bit by bit, they will even out. I forget what you call those. Maybe somebody knows. If I'd thought of it, I would have looked on YouTube. It's really amazing how things, weights swinging out of harmony will, over time, harmonize among themselves. Just because why? That is less friction. There's less resistance to harmony. So how many of us start out 调伏 made and put into harmony? Very few. Many of us start out playing rock and roll. And then after we meet Master Hua, we sell the electric guitar and keep the acoustic guitar because it's easier to put in. You don't need the drums and the amps and the boom, right? So then after a while, even the instruments are unnecessary because there's already the 调伏, the adjusting and adding when there's not enough and subtracting when it's too much. That happens in the heart. So pretty soon you get to a place where even a note is very satisfying. Like our friends, the shakuhachi players. You know the shakuhachi player? We, in our interfaith community, we had a shakuhachi player who he had been trained to play it's the bamboo flute. It's originally Japanese. Originally, it's chiba, Chinese originally, but it went to Japan, and like all Japanese arts, it becomes very essential, very basic and pure and focused and devoted to a single purity and essence. And our friend, we would invite this player to the interfaith gatherings in Berkeley, and he would say, he'd introduce his instrument and take it out of the case and unwrap the cloth around it and hold it up and show it off, and then prepare us for his offering of music. And then we would all be silent, and he would sit still and focus, and then he would go, toot. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. One note. Because he had been trained that that's all you need. Why are you greedy for more? It's in harmony, all with itself. And it's a natural vibration. And there was something to it, the way it was presented. He was so confident that nobody needed more than that single harmonious note. Then you play a Beethoven symphony and Chopin piano concerto, and you think, oh, well, maybe a few more notes would be okay too. So, delightful practices of harmonizing. 这个调伏横 然后调伏横来调伏众生，无有休息，这是菩萨的行为，菩萨的愿。 这个调伏啊，原来是音乐的一种调，过分就收回来，不够呢要加上，这样子就会调伏，和 harmonious。刚刚弹那个2条弦子在那个 banjo， 哇，有的非常不合就腻耳朵，有的就很好。这个有一种我忘了，选如果有 YouTube 可以放给大家看。有一种游戏，一个机器放在桌上，就是有好像6条弦，6条绳子，那个绳子下边有很重的一个铁做的一个圈，圆圈，然后他们就掉下来6个，然后从这边从第一个你就拉，棒。痛，打，这样子。然后从不同的时间，你用这边的，你就放，然后这样子打的不合。等一等，时间久了，他们2个就会自己就会调伏，就会和的，很奇妙。为什么呢？是不是上帝喜欢和呢？可以说大自然界喜欢和。为什么呢？因为friction 那个杂的比较吃势力，我的词汇不够了那么这样子呢，和就省力，就比较顺利。所以大自然界慢慢的。一开始那个球就会慢慢的就和了，这样子很有意思啊。所以这个和呢，调伏了是大自然界。我刚刚讲一个笑话，我们认识一个会吹笞笆的一个朋友，我们什么时候开会在 Berkeley。就会请他来做表演一点的音乐。他有日本的师傅吹这个笞笆，我们来请他来，好，他就打开了，然后解释这个竹筒啊怎么一回事，多久了，多老了然后那个音乐是怎么，然后呢，他还没开始不讲话就静坐，然后。感谢大家希望你喜欢我这个，就一个音吹一个音就可以了。他认为够了，何必弹多呢？这个意思，这种音乐呢真的是精华。哎呀，一个声音调和调伏了，所以希望众生都会深刻爱要的调伏了，无有休息了。菩萨就这样说，愿一切众生得诸菩萨深刻爱要无尽辩才演说诸法。May all living beings attain Bodhisattva's most delightful eloquence that inexhaustibly expounds all dharmas. Yeah. So interesting. In the Zen world, again, that Japanese preference for essentialness, just getting the absolute necessity and sticking to that truth and not adding more. Zen in America has this thing about you don't need words. The wordless teaching is the best, and burn the sutras and trash the Buddha image. You don't need it. You need just a rock, maybe, and silence is best. Well, there is a time for silence. I was silent for 6 years. But there's also a time when you talk. And the Mahayana tradition, there are times when you say a lot of words. You keep talking because living beings need to know. the martial arts world is one of those places where the old school Marty, Professor Verhoeven, talks about Guo Lianying. Guo Lianying was one of the real Lao Zige, one of the real elders teaching martial arts in San Francisco. And Professor Guo was a Mongolian camel train guard. He was such a tough guy that he would go out with the camel caravans, the traders going across the desert. And, you know, if the bandits come to rob your caravan, your bodyguards better be strong. So he was that kind of strong. And so Professor Guo used to take entire cloves of garlic and toss them in his mouth and chew them up as a protection against illness. And that's a Chinese medicine for sure, but not many people can chew a clove of garlic. He's that kind of tough guy. And sometimes his way of teaching at Portsmouth Square in San Francisco's Chinatown, he would demonstrate a Tai Chi move and then say, okay, you all work it out, and walk away. And then if you say, oh, sure, could you tell us again? Well, okay, show you the move, and then that's it. If you got it, you got it. If you didn't get it, well, words aren't going to help. And that's the traditional way of teaching martial arts. And Westerners like language. We like to have it explained and then have our feelings, a chance to express our feelings about what we've learned. That's just the way it goes. And it's such an interesting cultural difference here. So the Bodhisattva, if needed, is willing to use infinite eloquence to explain the Dharma. If not needed, he will show you and walk away. 就说辩才无碍四种辩才，哎呀，词无碍辩，义无碍辩，句无碍辩，乐说要说无碍辩，四种辩才无碍，无碍辩才。这个是不少会讲话，让你能听得懂，这样是听不懂，他另外用一个说法来讲给你听。那个不行的话，他都会用手印就来给你解释。那个不是哥哥这样子的话，尤其是禅宗日本禅，他们就有的时候你看那个学生看不懂，他们都会打了，都会叫啦一下，就用身体来表达那个第一义力。这个记得恒潮法师就是 Martin Verhoeven， 他还没出家之前，他来学武术，在旧金山学这个太极拳。那个是郭老师郭连英，非常有名的。那个他呢介绍武术给当时第60世代的人，60、70世代的人，在旧金山 Portsmouth Square 那里。Marty 就说那个郭老师他是非常有功夫的一个老师，他是老学派的，他会表示这种动作，然后看好了没？走了。师傅，你可不可以再行一次给我们看？你快点，就砰这样子，就是好了，走了，不解释，不会用很多语言了。西方人呢，哎呀，我们喜欢他解释左手怎么动，右手怎么动呢？然后呢，回来 我们要表达我们的感受，这样子西方人讲来讲去，古来的大的不会这样做了啊。菩萨呢，他需要用语言解释，就说无尽辩才，演说诸法。到时候不能，如果话多不行的话，他也会止语。不过呢，这就是菩萨回向功德，希望一切众生都有这种的辩才无碍。So those 4 kinds of eloquence in phrasing, in the meaning 意无碍辩，词无碍辩，意无碍辩，句eloquence in the images that you can bring in and the stories you can, eloquence in storytelling, and then the eloquence in delight in speech is the last in those 4 kinds of eloquence. The Bodhisattva can use those endlessly or silence if needed. Whatever works to get the Dharma across. 愿一切众生于不可说不可说劫，住于一切可爱要世界，教化众生心无厌倦。May all living beings abide in delightful worlds throughout inexpressibly many eons, teaching living beings tirelessly. So, long time. Sometimes it takes a very long time to get living beings to pick up the gold in front of them. They keep mistaking it for fool's gold. 就需要多少时间，菩萨都可以等让我们认识这个东西是真的黄金，不是假的黄金，我们不认识。I remember Shifu telling me that I get some gold in my hands and then toss it like garbage to the ground, not knowing how valuable it was. Get gold in my hands and then throw it to the ground. Shifu was so disgusted with lack of wisdom. 哎呀，愿一切众生以无量方便普能悟入深刻爱要诸佛法门。May all living beings be able to universally awaken to and realize the most delightful Dharma doors of the Buddhas through countless skillful means. Okay, this is a little more complex. So, the verb is to wake up and realize. The Shanka Ayao, the delightful Dharma doors of the Buddhas, here's the modifier, using countless skillful means. So the idea is whatever works. That's what bodhisattvas use. It's sometimes you have to go around the barn to get folks to wake up. You bet. 就说这个动词是说愿一切众生不能误入什么深刻爱要诸佛法门，怎么样呢？用无量方便才会不能误入。OK，有的时候就直截了当，众生不会接受，你必须要用不同的方法让他们间接的接受。Coming on here, got a couple more here and then some few down below. Here we go. 愿一切众生得可爱要无碍方便治一切法无有根本。May all living beings attain delightful, unobstructed, skillful means, understanding that all phenomena have no basis. Yeah, do you understand that all phenomena have no basis? I remember in Cape Town, South Africa, it was 1999. It was just before Y2K, that phenomena, that strange anomaly of time that people were afraid computers were going to spit back and break up. We were in the Parliament of World Religions in Cape Town. And one of the displays in Cape Town was a skillful astronomer and geologist and storyteller who had put together the history of the universe from an astronomical point of view. And they, the astronomy was accurate, and they took it from the beginning of a galaxy, how a galaxy in space is born, and then the various, breaks up and makes different stars, and they find their centers of gravity and start to turn. And then how individual planets circling individual stars take their different characteristics, and solar systems begin with circling around a star. And then as the planets develop around the stars, ice begins to form, and then the continents shift, and vegetation begins to form, and the fires cool down, and life begins. And so the fun part about this history of the universe was they spaced it out so you could walk it. It was in a long, long hallway with beautiful graphics as you walked the birth, the lifespan of a galaxy. And so the punchline and the teaching quality of this display was when the planet became habitable for mammals, this is, think dinosaurs, was the last 5 minutes of the last hour of the planet. All of the previous lifespan of the planet, there had been no conditions that allowed life to exist. When you walked and you walked and you walked, and you got to the last 3 steps up to the present was when dinosaurs, when protozoa and amoeba and not reptiles, but amphibians came out. And then bit by bit, things took wings and birds appeared, and then humans appeared later. And the humans were there for the last couple ticks of the clock so far. And you could go beyond when they predicted that the planet would burn up and shatter and become dust, you know. So it was beyond religion. This was pure science. And of course it took the evolution theory as the foundation of it. But it was so humbling and grounding in perspective to see that people have only been around on this planet for a couple ticks of the clock. So 11 hours and 55, 56, 57 minutes have passed before humans appeared. So, do we understand that all phenomena have no basis? 生成住坏空, coming into being, abiding, decaying and going void and coming into being again, that's the reality. 就说菩萨发这个回向愿，希望一切众生知道一切法没有根本。记得1999年前些年那个时候，就在南非 Cape Town 有世界宗教练习大会 Parliament of World Religions， 有一种展览是一个天文学家，还有一个地理学家，还有一个讲故事的人，就要讲什么呢？就是宇宙的生平。这个不是单单在书本上讲的，就是他们从那个 galaxy 的 创造一开始就是有火了，然后爆了，然后好几个小地球，绕着一颗太阳，一粒太阳。这个然后这个有意思的就是多少时间过了才有这个阶段、这个阶段、那个阶段，你要走了多远，就是等于多少时间，这样子呢？慢慢的，这个太阳系统成立了，然后有火星、木星、水星、金星等等，可是呢，也那个还不能住，还是火太大了，然后你继续走，如果是一个钟，就1个小时、3个小时、6个小时、9个小时、11个小时，你要走，等于那么多时间。到了11个小时55分钟，动物才从海里出来了，就说青蛙之类，或者这个细菌之类，然后青蛙出来了。当然，这就把这个怎么说这个生态论啊，这个 evolution 晋升论为基础，然后到最后3秒钟，人出来了看到你要走这个宇宙生命的那么长的时间，都是没有人、没有生命，住不下这个地球然后到最后3秒钟，人类出来了。你一看了，你就知道原来一切法没有根本何况人不要过分认真，因为我们生命实在是长短，有最多的时间没有人过了之后，还有这个宇宙还有生命过了，哇！不要过分认真，不要执着了愿一切众生深可爱要，离时欲计，知一切法毕竟无二，断一切障。May all living beings delightfully free themselves from greed, understanding that all phenomena are beyond duality, and thus severing all obstructions. So these are getting a little more complex to explain, aren't they? So let's see, how are we doing here? If we are free from greed, what happens? We can truly let everything take its own time. And we won't have an opinion on whether something that happens is good for me or bad for me. We will live according to precepts, essentially no harm. And that doesn't mean you become like a vegetable, you have no opinions. It's that you don't attach, as it says. When you don't attach, then there are no obstacles. When you don't seek, 道无求处便无有. Shifu would say, when you get to the place of seeking nothing, there are no further worries. Not easy. 就说在那个时候，得可爱要离贪欲计，知一切法毕竟无二，断一切障。怎么样？那个时候你就没有执着了。逆境来了，你就无所谓；顺境界来了，无所谓。我不选择，那不是说你变成一颗菜，你就没有执着了。虽然道教有的时候就说圣人是这样说，其实菩萨不会这样说。他知道善恶，可是他呢，为自己的身口意三业不会害人，做害人的事情他不会。 能利益众生，他一定要做。不过呢，他就是就说离贪欲忌，就说逆来顺受，逆来顺受，就是菩萨的这个智慧心。So there's the difference here. Taoism talks about sages who just don't react, right? Yogis become like insensate, become like a piece of wood. That's not the bodhisattva path. These are still the bodhisattva's sense of doing no harm and absolutely helping living beings. But the idea is when things don't work out for you, what do they say? 逆来顺受. You patiently absorb all negativity, all things that don't go your way, you can patiently absorb them. That's the bodhisattvas. Because, what do they say? They say the thing about living beings is that we fear results. We don't fear causes. Bodhisattvas are different. Bodhisattvas know that once the seed is planted, the result will follow. So we are very cautious at the time of planting. But when the results come, we absolutely take them gratefully and don't plant them again. Alrighty, let's see here. 愿一切众生得可爱要离贪欲忌，治一切法平等真实. May all living beings delightfully free themselves from greed, understanding that all phenomena are intrinsically evil. Equal. I see. Now, this is interesting because the delightfully becomes an adjective. Or not, it's an adverb, actually. So that's different, isn't it? It's not that the objects are delightful or the reactions to them are delightful. Interesting here. So the Chinese goes, may living beings get the adorable 可爱要 freedom from desire. So minds that are absolutely at equilibrium in themselves. Because why? They know that all things, all dharmas, are no different whatsoever. They're all truly thus. Okay, so boy, does that take wisdom. And this is the Bodhisattva's transference. They want living beings to look that way. I just, before the lecture began here, I was visited by a family of king parrots. King parrots are these brilliant red and green birds with very warm, kind eyes. And the parrots themselves are harmless. They don't fight for themselves. They get pushed around by the lorikeets and all. And they're just lovely birds. And there is a male, bright red bird, who lands on my hand and eats sunflower seeds from my hand. Well, he and these birds also marry for life, interestingly. They pair up for life. So the king parrot that lands on my hand brought his wife around today. And she was there, and she's green where he's red. And they landed on the railing, and this is the guy who clings to my screen door. He just flies up and hooks his claws into my screen door, flattens himself on the screen. But there was his wife, and I heard this chirp, scrub, 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 squawk, 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 like that. I thought, oh, they brought a baby. And I looked out, and sure enough, here was a baby girl, king parrot, their offspring. And one thing I'm learning about Australian backyard birds is the offspring are almost as large as the parents, but their bodies grow up really fast, but they don't know how to be birds yet. They haven't gone through the training to learn how to behave as a full-grown king parrot or currawong or kookaburra. And the parents have to chase them around and teach them as they can every opportunity. And it's just a nail-biting period of a couple months while the kids are running amok, and the parents have to save them because the kids don't know what's dangerous, what's good, what's bad. And so I looked at the baby, and the baby was so clearly, the word is innocent. She was just existing there. Beautiful. The eyes of the baby bird knew nothing and was very happy to be alive and out there. And innocent, just 天真. And if you think that understanding that all phenomena are intrinsically equal, did she understand that? It's like, for her, all she knows is that her parents are there to serve her and just eat things and feed them to her. And she's showing up and she's just, I'm here, I'm happy, everything's good. It was really wonderful. I got some photos and I haven't had a chance to develop them, but I'll show you the baby next time. And just so cute. Now, the Bodhisattva is not that way. He deeply understands. It's not that he doesn't know anything and his innocence allows him. It's not that ignorance is bliss. It's that the Bodhisattva sees through to the heart of all living beings and understands where they come from, that they are born of conditions alone, and they will return, just like the universe, back to that state of nothing. And this beautiful young female baby king parrot has some hard lessons ahead. She's, sadder but wiser is just around the corner. But now she exists in the state of blissful ignorance, indeed. 刚刚看到就那个鹦鹉，父母他们常常来，尤其是那个公的红色 king parrot， 他们今天带来他们的女孩子，也第三只鸟，这个是很年轻的一个很可爱的深可爱要的一只鸟，就出生没有多久了，今天带来介绍给我看了。这个女孩子叫这样的，然后我听到了，有个孩子，然后那个公的他会飞到我的那个王床那个 screen 就这样子飞回去那个女孩子的旁边那个小的，然后我看到那个小的天真无邪，清净，什么都不懂，就是等父母在那儿喂给他，很高兴在那儿叫，哇，这个世界一切都好了。他只有应该是2个月的生命，不过呢，天真无邪，真的可爱。我就说，那不是菩萨，菩萨会明白一切法都真实平等真实。为什么呢？不是因为什么都不要知道了，就是一张白纸，不是，就是因为他知道一切法从缘而生，一切法从缘而灭。他能透过外表一直到法怎么生出坏空了，他懂的。哇，今天那个小巧鸟，那个可爱要的这个king parrot，他真的天真无邪，心里没有一个念头，很可爱。Okay, we didn't get it finished. We'll come back here, probably from Taiwan. The next time you hear me, I'm going to be in Taiwan. But today we need to move on here because look what happens. 好的。Okay. 西南雨舍山涧，行700里，至半奴结果。从此东南行400余里，至俄罗舍部落国。 从此东南下山渡水，行700余里，至利家国。自兰波至于此土，取域几住边荒，一副语言稍疏印度，有比宝之风焉。Okay, Master Xuanzang left the country of Kashmir, where he'd spent 2 years. He traveled southwest for 700 li in a mountainous region till he reached the country of Punak. Further 400 li southeast, he reached the country of Rajapura, the king's city. Raja is king, Pura city. Down from the mountains, across a river southeast for 700 li, he reached the country of Cheka. From Lampaka to this land, the people lived in the frontier and desolate countries. Their costumes and languages were slightly different from those of India. They were rude and vulgar in manners. Okay, we all got the picture. This Master Xuanzang really had distance to cover. Kashmir is sort of a border between India and China fought over that a couple of years ago. In this time, it was disputed by 3 different countries. And yet, it was a major center for the Dharma because of Sanghamitra, the teacher, and all his students. So Master Xuanzang stayed for 2 years to study there. 这个地方 Kashmir 是有这个大的高僧，还有他的学生。因为这个关系，玄奘大师住2年了，停留2年，学习一些论，这个本子，满他的愿，他求学的、求法的愿。然后呢，还有走好远的路，就继续走。这个包括去这些野蛮的地方，在这里呢。这个风俗习惯呢很粗的，就不是很文雅的，所以这个比较危险。So he's now in a place that is very rough and uncultured, and he gets a different reception. 自出河罗舍部罗国，经3日，渡占达罗婆切河。到舍叶部落城，宿于外道寺，寺在城西门外，是时徒律20余人。After leaving the country, let's see here, one more. 后日进到舍迦罗城，城中有伽蓝，僧徒100余人。After leaving the country of Rajapura, having traveled for 3 days, he crossed the Chandrabhaga River, reached the city of Jayapura. He spent a night in a heretical monastery that was situated outside the western gate. More than 20 men were living in it. 2 days later, he entered the city of Sakala. Which was a monastery with more than 100 monks. So he has to stay in a non-Buddhist place, and yet they still give him a bed to sleep in. Then he enters a city. There's a monastery with 100 monks there, so at least it's still Buddhist. Okay. 后日进到舍迦罗城。Okay. 悉是亲菩萨，悉是亲菩萨与中至生一度论，其次有数主播高200尺，是过去四佛说法之处，竟有见有精行遗迹。Formerly, Vasubandhu Bodhisattva composed the Paramarthasatya Shastra in this monastery. There was a stupa 200 feet high, think of how tall that is, which was the place where 4 past Buddhas had preached the Dharma. The traces of their footprints were still there when they walked up and down. 现在大师接近佛国， 接近印度，因为佛的过去的痕迹，现在越来越多。大家想看，200尺高的一个塔，多高呢？多大了？然后他们都会记得4尊佛，过去4佛的痕迹。So imagine a 200-foot stupa, and a place where 4 Buddhas of the past had walked. They still remembered. 从此出那罗僧合称洞之波罗舍大林中，逢群贼50余人，法师几伴，所将衣资，皆夺都尽，仍挥刀驱救，道难苦持，余总屠害，其齿多有彭吉罗曼，法师所降沙弥，遂应此灵，见是南岸有水穴，看容人过，四告法师，事迹相与偷出，东南急走，可2、3里，与依婆罗门耕地，告知被贼，必闻惊愕，几借牛与法师从村出备，胜鼓相命，得80余人，各将其杖，即往贼所。Okay. From here he left the city of Narasimha, reached a great Palasa wood in the east. In the wood he encountered a group of more than 50 robbers. When they'd robbed all the clothes and money of the master and his companions, they waved their swords and drove them to a dry pond by the southern side of the road, intending to slaughter them all. In the pond were thorny bushes. The master's attendant novice saw through the bushes a waterway on the southern bank of the pond, which was just passable by one man. He quietly told it to the master, and the young monk and the master slipped away through it. After running hurriedly towards the southeast for 2 or 3 li, they met a Brahmin who was tilling the land and told him they'd been attacked by robbers. He was astonished to hear this. Handing his cow to the master, he returned to the village to blow a conch and beat a drum. Summoning 80 men, they armed themselves with weapons and ran to the place of the robbery. 玄奘大师被贼所盗的，哇，生命几乎没有了，就因为他一个侍者，一个沙弥，很聪明，看到有一个可以出去的窟窿，就2个就说弟子和师父逃走，幸亏跑走了，就有一个婆罗门在那儿耕地，就告诉他，他就有这种本事，他就发声音号笛，然后80多个就说同伴跑过来，就说抓这些土匪。贼见众人逃散，各入林间，法师随到持，解众人服，又从诸人施以分语，相悉投村宿，诸人悲泣，独法师下无由期。On seeing the people, the robbers dispersed into the wood. The master came back to the pond and released the others from their bonds. When he had distributed his clothes to his companions, he went together with them to the village and spent the night. Everybody cried sorrowfully. The master alone smiled without any sign of misery. Wow. 好紧张哈，这个if it were not for the Shami, or the Shami, that is to say, who was able to effect the escape, this story would have ended here. Yeah, so invisibly maybe the Tianlong Babu had a hand in this too. 就是没有那个沙弥恐怕去印度取经的故事就在这里讲完了。 幸亏他有办法了，然后2位就逃走了啊。就无形中天龙八部有没有帮忙，也有可能。So what do you think of this? This is quite an amazing. We hear about the dangers that Master Xuanzang faced, and not only a lot of it is his passing over these mountains, that there are people who will tell you that 3 out of 5 of Master Xuanzang's companions didn't make it. And yet he himself not only crossed the mountains and the deserts and all the humans going to India, but also coming back. He did it again in reverse. What a remarkable, amazing life this Buddhist bhikshu lived. 我们听过玄奘大师的所受的这种苦不过这种真的知道了不可思议。Okay, we would like to here we go. Dedicate merit. Please make a wish. Just like the Bodhisattvas in the sutras, 我们就会相功德。May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see, our hands and hearts can find in giving unity. May our minds away to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. And let us bow to the Buddhas. Here we go. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Alrighty, that's going to do it for us for today. We'll see you all next week from Taiwan. Amitofo, everybody. Bye now.